Ladies and gents, welcome to CG Reaction, and this is the Cost of Concordia. New video internet historian just released on the main channel, so this is gonna be awesome. It is 46 minutes long, so I don't know if I have the time. Maybe there'll be two-part reaction video. I don't know. If I can, I'll try to do it at once. But yeah. So yeah, Cost of Concordia. I think this is about some cruise liner. If comments tell me something about cruise liner. So yeah, I mean, this is a bit different than he does. But yeah, I guess there's going to be something funny about it. I hope it's not too dark, but internet historian doesn't call that dark. It's usually something funny and stupid thing that happens. So it's going to be awesome. Obviously, cruise liner. I mean, the most famous thing is Titanic. Everybody knows about that. But after that, I think I remember one incident from Philippines. I don't know, it was early 2010s, if I'm not remembering correctly. 4,000 people died, 4,000 plus or something like that. It hit another ship that was carrying some gasoline, lots of barrels of gasoline. Most people were sleeping when they died, but what happened was, this ship crashed into the gasoline ship, and it just lit up. Everything lit up. The waters lit up. I mean, it's just fucked up. It's gasoline, so all waters are lit up now. So people, whoever could, most people were sleeping, and their commotion started. Most of them just died like that. But the people who tried to jump into the water, they jumped into the fire lit water just to escape. And yeah, by the way, there was sharks too. So there you go. If any story ends with, yeah, by the way, there is sharks too, that's the least of their problem. That's just fucked up situation. So that's just horrible. And obviously the most famous incidents from World War One. Also the Epic History TV World War One videos. In that, they told that there was a British ship that was sunk by a British U-boat, German U-boat, and about 2,000 people died. So that was also fucked up. There are lots of incidents like that. But I'm pretty sure this incident is going to be stupid, ridiculous, because internet historian is covering it. So it's going to be awesome. Remember, people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out other reaction. There's a link in the description. Check out the cast wall, the playlist like internet historian, CGP, Gray, Lamino, Salmonellas, things like that. And yeah, let's watch this one.
The Cost of Concordia, ship of dreams. It's been 8 years. I can still smell the buffets from their 5 restaurants. The casino and 3-story theater had hardly been used. The gym, the day spa, the sheets in 1,500 luxurious cabins hadn't even been slept in. Cost of Concordia cost $570 million to build. And you could tell. You could really tell.
That's epic.
I remember it like it was just a few years ago. We had left Civitavecchia, a port in Rome, and we were making our way to Savona. It was day 2 of our 7-day journey. But that's
it?
She was cursed.
Oh my god.
When she premiered, the traditional bottle of champagne bounced right off the side instead of smashing.
A bad omen.
Alright, I've heard that anybody who sails, that is really big thing. If the bottle doesn't break, people start to get, really like, whoa, anxiety starts in, I guess. So yeah, that is already a bad sign.
Superstitious type.
Nothing could go wrong on Friday the 13th of January, 2012,
on the 100th year anniversary of the Titanic, on a ship that's also only safety rated for 2-compartment flooding. Especially not when you have a 5-star max-level captain like Francisco Scatino, a man who mysteriously rose from head of security to the position of captain within just a couple of years.
What the
He
fuck?
knows exactly
Whoa. Security guard, supervisor, security officer, local security. So all things about security. And then captain. Now what the fuck was that?
Within just a couple of years.
He knows exactly what to do in case of an emergency.
For example, when he caused this emergency in 2008, when he crashed into a port in Sicily. and in 2010 in Warnemünde, Germany, when he was steering a different ship and came into port too fast and caused another collision. I've got a good feeling about this. So let's set the scene.
He already has bad history. So how did the people who spent money on the boat like, yeah, we trust him with this. We trust him with it. 570 million. We trust him with this.
It's a beautiful evening. People are having fun on the slides, drinks at the bar. Antonio Magnotta.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a superstitious person at all. I'm a scientific person. But even I, you know how the Friday the 13th, 2012, just 100 or so years ago, Titanic sank, so it's anniversary or something. And you know what? That's not the time I would choose to go on the cruise ship. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not superstitious, but who's the I forgot the biology. Richard Dawkins. Yeah, Richard Dawkins. Even he says it that yeah, I'm not a religious person. Obviously, I'm not superstitious. But if a house has a history of being haunted, I'm not gonna go sleep there for night or something. I'm gonna avoid. So even he says so it's something like that. I would avoid it. I don't know why people. I guess people just didn't know that it's Friday the 13th and all these details 2012 and 100 years anniversary of Titanic. I think they didn't know about that.
Is playing piano at the restaurant. Martin the magician is setting up for his show. And the ship is setting up for a little detour. It's called a sail-by salute. Basically, you get real close to the shore and honk the horn. The locals hate it, but the customers love it, and it's a tradition. Scatino, the captain, comes into the dining hall with the lady, Dominica Samorton. Remember this face because you'll be seeing a lot of it later. Scatino eats his dinner with her and socializes for a little while. Then he, Dominica, and the maitre d' finish up and excuse themselves. They're heading to the bridge. It's time for that sail-by salute. This time, they're going to get closer than ever. Just 1,500 feet from the island of Giglio. And how are they going to determine this distance? Well, of course, the captain is going to eyeball it. Apparently it's
like
not
a maverick
to do. Scatino turns to the fella steering, his helmsman, Jacob Ruslibin. First interesting tidbit. Cost of Concordia has hired Jacob from Indonesia at a rock-bottom price, and he's a bit of a newbie to the job. In fact, his profession hitherto, a painter and a cleaner. It's his first time steering a massive ship, and he's very excited. At least...
Tell me this is a joke, internet student just adding these fucking details. How the fuck you give $570 million cruise ship to someone this incompetent who doesn't even have history of doing this? People hire, professionals. Not rookies like this, what the fuck?
We think he is. It's hard to tell because he doesn't speak English or Italian very well at all. Off to a good start. The second in command orders the helmsman to 290. Now, don't be confused by these numbers, they're just the degrees on a compass. At the same time, the captain whips out his cell phone and calls former captain Mario Palombo, who lives on the island. They chat about the safe distance to Giglio's shores. It's all very casual. Anyway, Mario says that the safe distance is between 0.3 and 0.4 miles from shore. The captain is going all in. This is not his first sail-by salute, so he's confident in what he's doing. We're going closer than we've ever been before. The captain's eyeballing it again. New heading of 300, he tells the helmsman. Downstairs, Martin is about...
Wait a second, so he just called the former captain just to rub it in or something because he asked for his advice and he's clearly not following it.
Cut his assistant in half. And of course, that means that there's already a lady inside this box. She's waiting for the cue, and then she'll poke her legs out. The captain is giving more orders.
Why did you told me that detail?
310.
What's gonna happen to her? Why'd you told me that detail? Oh, I hope this is not really dark video, man. That would be really different from what he does, I guess.
Increase speed to 16 knots. Going this fast is going to be a fatal error.
Yeah.
But before we talk about that, let's talk about another big problem. Language barrier. Because at this point, the captain says 325, but the helmsman relays 315. So the first officer intervenes, and he goes, no, 335, which is also wrong. And then the captain clarifies, no, 325. The helmsman confirms 325. Their poor communication has them moving at a much wider angle than they think they are. However, the captain should and would know this, except for the next problem, complacency about procedure. The standard procedure of a ship this large is for
Procedures.
the third officer to give exact positional coordinates every time the captain gives a new directional order. But they're not doing that. 3:30, he says. The helmsman relays 3:30. The ship reaches 16 knots. The captain then turns to the second officer and instructs him to go to the left wing. That's these things here, and they basically exist so you can get a better view over the whole vessel. A few seconds pass, and then the mood starts to turn. Scatino notices white foam of waves breaking against the rocks directly in front of him in the distance. The Cost of Concordia right now is almost 700 meters closer to the rocks than it should be. Without deviation, there is going to be a direct collision.
Oh shit!
Scatino immediately commands the ship to start turning away. 335. Not enough. The captain shouts, 340. The captain yells, 350. Now, remember how I said that accelerating to 16 knots was a fatal error?
Yeah.
Well, that's because it's made this ship incapable of such a drastic turn.
It's a humongous ship. Cruise ships are humongous, and 16 knots are kind of fast, man, for the ship like that. So it's not gonna make major turns like that. What the fuck? Oh god, this is so stupid. He didn't follow procedures, he's incompetent. Who the fuck gave him the power like this?
What they've got is understeer. Here's an example.
The front end is not working. You're turning, and you're just going straight. You want to go over here, but you're going to end up over here.
So despite the order of 350, right now the bow is still only pointing at 327. Not nearly enough to miss the rock. And oh no, it's about to get worse. That language barrier again. In these critical moments where every second counts, the helmsman wrongly relays 340. The captain snaps back, 350 starboard or we end up on the rocks. The third officer goes to assist the helmsman. Now, don't get confused by the orders from here. We're changing over to rudder instructions. The captain yells, starboard 10, starboard 20, and still it's not enough. Hard to starboard. That means as hard as it'll go. But at this point, even if they clear these rocks, they need to get the rest of the ship to swing around it. So the captain yells, midship, which centers the rudder. The bow is now less than 150 meters from Skull Rock. Port
Fuck
10.
me.
But the helmsman only gets to port 5 before another order is given 2 seconds later. Port 20. They might just avoid disaster here, maybe. But then, oh no. One more time the helmsman cocks up at the worst possible moment. The helmsman goes to starboard instead of port, undoing the swing. 8 seconds later, he realizes the error and corrects, but it's too late. He has just turned a probable near miss into a sure hit. All they can do now is hold on as the bow of the ship narrowly passes by the rocks. Hard to port! The second officer yells, we're gonna hit! Collision.
Alright, I don't think I've ever been this pissed in any internet student video. What the fuck? If that captain was here, I would strangle that asshole. First of all, he screwed everything up, alright? Not following procedures, have no fucking, any experience in the past. Have the helmsman that doesn't even speak his language properly. Why would somebody do this? This is not the place to show incompetence, man. So, people who spend 570 million for this ship, why would they give him the power, the captaincy? I don't understand this. This is stupid. Even if the helmsman was speaking his language properly, and had some experience, they might have missed the rocks. Even there he fucked up. I'm sure some people died. Incidents like this, I'm sure of that.
Ad time. Downtown, Nordtown. It's day 56 of playing Russian roulette. Seems I never win.
Gonna drink all by yourself?
Somebody has to.
I hear you're a man who's good at finding folks.
I'm many things.
I'm looking for this fella. I gots to find him. It's breaking my little heart.
I'll see what I can do. I have contacts in thousands of servers in dozens of countries across the globe. And just like that, she was gone. The only thing she left was a calling card. Sometimes when you follow a case, it follows you back. NordVPN can protect my online data. But who can protect me from myself? When they said this job gets easier, it was just another lie. Forensics found his password spread all the way down the block. In a perfect world, we'd all use NordVPN. But I guess this isn't that kind of story. I took the brakes off my car. Man like me never really learned how to stop.
Shut the fuck up.
I took the steering wheel out too. I let the road take me where I'm supposed to be.
This is too good.
That's right, Toots. Your husband's dead. Merry Christmas. Go to nordvpn.com/internethistorian for a huge discount on a 2-year plan.
That follows. Otherwise your husband is gonna die. Even if you don't have a husband, he's gonna die.
The ship hits rocks on the port side. A 53-meter gash opens up in the hull, and thousands of tons of water begin pouring in. A loud scraping and bang is heard by all passengers. At the helm, there's panic. Rumblings in the dining room. Martin awkwardly pauses his...
Alright, first of all, anybody who knows about cruises, first thing that comes to their mind is Titanic. So imagine being there and just hearing that knock and vibration, suddenly everything's shaking. Oh, fuck me, the thoughts that go through people's head, like, that's it, we are gonna die. That's the first thought that goes through everybody's mind. We are all dead now. This is stupid. Look, I'm not gonna lie, I would never go on a cruise. There are lots, first of all, they're on the international water, so somebody could fucking kill you or something. Obviously that's exaggeration, but still, there are lots of diseases on it. It's just ugh. I mean, there was a latest video somewhere on a cruise where the cruise was because of the waves were shaking, all the furniture was falling on people. That's just stupid.
act as he's helping his assistant into the box. Meanwhile, the lady inside is trapped and terrified. There's confusion across the ship. All of the crew off shift come back on duty. All officers run to the bridge. Technical crews run down to the lower decks to assess damage. On connection with the rocks, they lose propulsion and slow to 8.3 knots. And they are now adrift. Close the watertight doors at stern. Enormous volumes of water are pouring in. So much so that within 29 seconds of collision, all 6 engines stop working through flooding. 22 seconds later, a blackout happens. Lights, electrics, the water.
That's what you need, isn't it?
Everything.
Blackout.
The captain orders the helmsman hard starboard. This is the final position of the rudder before power to that, too, is lost. The Cost of Concordia, now without power, is drifting starboard, plunged into absolute darkness. A quick breakdown of the flooding. When the Concordia struck land, it tore open 3 watertight compartments. At first, compartment 5, which filled very rapidly, then 6 more slowly, 4 shortly after, then 7, 8 and 3. Modern ships are built to withstand 2 compartment breaches. These compartments especially, though, are a problem, because they contain the engines and the electrics. These main generators give power to the whole ship, from propulsion motors to rudder to hotel functions, pretty much everything. When they went out, the ship was a functionless, sinking cage. A few seconds later, the emergency batteries for internal lighting and communications kick
I think they should have designed where there's spaces out engines, even the spare engines in the distance. So if one side goes out, other side is there, so they could still use it for emergency power or something. There you go. As I'm saying it, there you go.
When the lights come back on, Martin has vanished. He's ditched the stage, and it caused a huge panic in the theatre, as passengers are trying to flee to their cabins and to muster stations. People already in their cabins come out and start putting on life vests. Staff rally and try to calm everyone down. Everything is fine, there's no need for vests, please return to your cabins. The emergency generator starts. All of the watertight doors close except for door 12, which is jammed. The captain calls Pilot, the chief engineer, as the ship begins to list on the port side. There's water coming in? Yes, there's water. But where? The engine room. But a lot of water? Yes! There's water, you can't go
No, just
down.
bit.
Let's
Just
go
a
down
little
the
bit.
other side. In a moment we'll start the pumps, I'll let you know. In the theatre, the whole magic box apparatus slides right off the stage and falls into the crowd, further increasing panic. On the bridge, an announcement is being prepared. They are going to lie to prevent a panic. Let's just say we have a blackout. The deputy chief engineer enters the engine control room. He confirms to the bridge that at least compartments 5, 6, and 7 are flooded.
Look at him dashing.
Announcements are made.
We have the captain to inform you that due to an electrical fault, which is currently under control, we're currently in a blackout. Our technicians are working to resolve the situation.
That's the
and we'll
actual
inform
audio.
you of developments as they occur. Thank you for your attention.
Coincidentally, at the same time in the restaurant, they're playing My Heart Will Go On, and it's very much not helping the situation. The captain calls the Costa crisis.
If I were there, anybody who's playing that song, I would punch that guy. Like, shut the fuck up. You're not playing this song now.
Unit, Roberto Ferrarini. He tells the crisis unit that they've hit a rock, that they're assessing damages, and that they are also in a blackout. The crisis office says to reverse the ship up onto shore. Well, how are you going to do that? You don't have power to the rudder, let alone the engine. Hoist the sails? Anyway, around this time, the wind direction creates a starboard list, and the ship begins to turn anyway, drifting right back towards the shore, which is a very good thing because you want the ship to end up as close to shore as possible. A panicked passenger senses that something is off. This isn't like any electrical problem that she's ever seen. Plus, there was a massive crashing noise and now the ship is tilting. So, she contacts her daughter in Italy. The daughter then calls the police, and the police call the harbour master. While that goes on, a conversation between Pilon and Ambrosio. The diesel is not starting. The captain asks the engine room, but where have we made contact? Thinking that the incoming water can be reduced. Captain, here everything is lost. The electrical panel, everything. They're saying at this point that the ship is going down. The captain calls Roberto
Fuck me.
Ferrarini again. Actually, 2 compartments have been flooded, but don't worry, the ship's stability isn't in danger. Wrong. Passengers begin going to muster stations on their own initiative. The cruise director says, "We have a lot of people at muster stations that I do not want to fall overboard. Do we make an announcement to tell them to go to the lounges?" Bozio says, "I think that's best." The harbour master from Livorno calls the ship. The captain tells them that
God, what a shitty captain. Seriously, I hate this guy. I mean, he's even handling the situation badly, so it could end up more casualties.
we just have a blackout. How long has this blackout been going on? About 20 minutes. Have you asked passengers to put on life vests? It's just a blackout. I gotta go. The harbour master is suspicious. He says to his superiors that he thinks something more is going on. He calls a patrol boat to the area and asks them to look at the ship. Another problem. The fan on the emergency diesel generator isn't working properly. Pilon manually has to turn the thing on and off with a screwdriver so that it doesn't overheat and cause a fire. The captain is on the phone to the lower decks, asking pointless questions, like, is it still flooded? Yes. Yes, it is. The captain is essentially in denial.
Somebody throw this asshole overboard and somebody take charge. Doesn't matter if the person doesn't have experience, because you'll still be better than this asshole.
The situation. The harbour master calls again. Finally, he says, the ship is taking on water through an opening in the left side and the ship is listing. He qualifies with, no one dead or injured. The harbour master asks if he needs help. Just a tugboat? When in reality, they need a full rescue. With 3 compartments flooded, the captain finally realizes that things are really bad and they are not going to improve. The Coast Guard orders every available ship to the scene. Meanwhile, up with the passengers, the cruise director's assistant says, everything's under control. Please return to your cabins or hang about in the lounges, no problem. She said this despite knowing it was wrong and that it further endangered lives. Most passengers at this point, though, aren't listening to this
That should
nonsense.
be criminal
and
charges.
they're busy figuring out how to abandon ship. Bang, 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 bang. Local television has already picked up the story and they begin broadcasting live radio feed from the bridge.
Hey, Capo.
Captain, the passengers are going on board the boats. Okay, let them go to shore. So then general emergency? Wait, let me talk to Ferrarini. We risk the emergency generators that do not have cooling. It has cooling problems, 100 degrees. The cooling fan has stopped. Pilon calls the bridge and tells the safety officer they need to evacuate. The safety officer relays this to the captain, but after no response, he orders the engine room to evacuate on his own. The captain says, "No, stay. We're leaving." So what do? General emergency? The captain tells Ferrarini that he's abandoning ship. Abandoned ship! Another announcement is made.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. The situation is under control. Please remain calm. But at this time, proceed to your muster station. They're located outside on deck 4.
The Livorno Coast Guard calls again.
I'm
The
gonna
captain
kill this guy.
declares distress. The Coast Guard officially calls for rescue operations. They contact Pietro Mille, the helicopter base commander, who then calls in every available pilot as he rushes down to the helicopter base. Pilon shuts down the emergency generator for the final time. The first rescue vessel arrives. By this point, the lifeboats are already going. Luckily, the ship is very close to shore. Oh, perhaps too close to shore. The ship forcefully runs aground, creating an uneven center of gravity, and it begins heavily listing starboard. The captain issues a general emergency on board. The announcement to abandon ship is finally called and alarms ring out. And with that
But now,
comes
asshole.
panic. And now that they're listing, with many of the lifeboats too awkwardly positioned to enter the water, there aren't enough readily available and they have to start going back and forth to the shore, picking people up and dropping them off.
This is
The
horrible.
patrol boats report to the Livorno harbour master that the ship has run aground and is listing heavily. So the harbour master asks the captain about it, and the captain says, no, the ship is still floating. In fact, we're trying to maneuver it onto the shore. They know he's lying. Hold on, I'm reversing it. Beep, 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 beep. The captain then says to bottom out the starboard anchor. So they drop out the anchors, but let out
I don't know what happened after this, but I hope that guy got, criminal charges because this is bullshit.
too much chain, effectively rendering them useless. The deputy mayor of Giglio, Mario Pellegrini, and tobacco shop owner Giovanni Rossi arrive
with a
at the
Ferrari.
harbour. They watch the scene unfold. As the
It's
first of
awesome.
the lifeboats arrive on shore, the deputy mayor takes the initiative and races to board one of the lifeboats, returning to the ship, and starts trying to find someone in charge. He gives up and starts helping passengers.
What?
Scatino tells everyone to leave and take radios. But
He
not
did what? Oh, that's a badass, man. He just went on the ship like, I don't give a fuck, I'm rescuing the people. Oh, I love that.
before changing out of his uniform and into a nice suit. Priorities. Dimitri Christidis
Italians,
and Silvio
eh?
Coronica leave with him. The maitre d' and Sir Morton both get out of there. By this point, approximately 300 people are still on the ship. Millet reaches the helicopter base. The first helicopter, a slow-moving Augusta Bell, was already rising from the tarmac for the hour-long flight south. Bozio is the last crew member left on the bridge, coordinating the evacuation. He then leaves to help passengers board lifeboats. The bridge is now abandoned. And then, the ship's black box stops working. Apparently there were technical problems with it. That means, from
the
here,
black box.
things are going to get a little foggy in detail. A while later, rescue helicopters arrive, but they're struggling to find the ship because they're expecting it to still be well above water. Passengers are scaling down the port side by ladder as lifeboats return to pick them up.
This is no joke. Oh my goodness. It was no joke, mi amor. Yes.
He's not allowed to make a film
I'm
movie.
allowed.
Who say you are?
A second helicopter, a faster model, sets off. The ship stops healing and comes to a final resting place. Now the Coast Guard
You're not allowed to make film. Bitch, he's not on the ship. You can't tell him what to do now.
calls the captain because he's just learnt that the captain has abandoned ship. The captain claims, no, actually I slipped and I fell into one of the lifeboats. I'm a klutz. But now that I'm on board, I may as well head back to shore. DeFalco tells the captain to get the fuck back on board. And the captain kind of acts confused and then effectively refuses. So the captain makes it to shore. From here, we only have mainstream news reports to rely on, so it's not going to be super accurate. But they say that Giglio's police chief then finds 110 survivors on the rocks at Point Gabbianara. And among them is the captain. It's not known whether the captain helped anyone while he was there, and in fact, the police chief claimed that he just sat on the rocks and watched other people do the rescuing. A while later, a rescue boat picks up the captain and takes him to the harbour. He speaks to the police. He then finds the ship's onboard chaplain, Father Rafael Molina, and cries to him for about 15 minutes. Then he goes to the harbour master's office to receive probably the biggest dressing down of his entire life. Port authorities ask the taxi driver to take the captain back to his hotel. The captain takes the 30-second cab ride to the Bahamas hotel. According to the cabbie, he was beaten like a dog. He was cold and afraid. He only asked me where he could buy a pair of fresh socks. But then he perked right up again and gave an interview to a news crew. He told them that he was the last to leave.
The captain is usually the last to abandon ship. What happened, Captain?
We were the last to leave the ship.
All they
Look at
said,
that.
they rescued
You see
the
that? See that?
ship.
Lying
On
shit.
Sunday morning, a South Korean couple is found in their cabin, safe but shivering. They had slept through the crash and woke up unable to exit their cabin.
Oh,
The last
fuck.
survivor, Manrico Giampandroni, was found with a broken leg. He was the cabin's service director. In the end, 32 people died.
Oh,
The final
come
body
on.
wasn't discovered until nearly 3 years later. A crew member, Russell Rebello, and it's believed that he died a hero helping passengers off the ship. The Costa Concordia was the largest cruise ship disaster since the Titanic. And then there's the ship.
That many people died. That asshole captain should be held accountable for that.
This is what happens to a 110,000-ton cruise liner when it's left half rolled over in the ocean.
God, look at that. This is bullshit. The captain should be punched repeatedly and put in jail, for fuck's sake. And the people who put him in charge, they should be in the jail too. I mean, is there such thing as accountability? What the fuck? You just risk all these people's life?
But this isn't the end. It's just the halfway point. What most people know is that the Costa Concordia had crashed, many dead, and that the captain abandoned ship like a coward. But there's a whole veritable spaghetti of details to untangle. Let's dive in.
It's not about him being a coward. At the certain points where there's protocol to tell people certain things, it's the right to know things. He suppressed the knowledge even then. I mean, I understand not to cause panic when it's necessary, but after some time it just becomes life and death issue. At the point you have to tell people like we have to evacuate or something. Even then, when every protocol tells you that you have to tell your people that this is serious, now you have to evacuate, he still tried to suppress that information. He knew people could die, and he was just trying to save his own ass. Like, clearly it's his fault. He knows that, so he's trying to show that it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal, even though he knows people might die. What's wrong with him, man?
There they are. The deets.
Blue box time. The Costa Concordia was more than just a floating resort. There's a mall, a casino, cha-ching, cha-ching. This iron chest was full of safes and cash registers and expensive fittings. And there were plenty of gamers prepared to sneak by authorities.
Oh my god, that is right. Yeah, cruise ships has lots of lots of shit in it that could be beneficial. So what people looted it. This is awesome.
And try their luck in the hot zone. Within days, police divers reported that valuable items, once seen lying around the ship, were now missing.
That sounds
high-end
really...
liquor, expensive furniture, dining sets, cash from the casino, cash registers, jewellery and display cabinets, safes, Japanese woodblock prints by famous 18th century artists, as well as the iconic bell, which hung from the bridge of the ship. It was never found. Who steals a big fuck-off bell? Even the server admins were getting in.
I mean, yeah, bell is made of what? Bronze? It must be heavy, so it must be, you know, some kilos at least. That must be worth some thousands of bucks, I guess. It's, you know, it's better than wet socks, I guess.
Involved. 4 divers who were part of the company contracted to refloat the Concordia were spotted on CCTV, sneaking out to the ship. A patrol boat was dispatched, and the men were caught inside the fancy suites with rucksacks full of stolen goods. The 4 men are charged with stealing and thieving and pinching. Later on, stolen as well as legitimate items found their way to Amazon and eBay. Chips from the casino, postcards, and cabin access cards became highly sought after souvenirs.
It even has a watermark.
Some Australian guy even made a listing for the ship itself, advertising it as buyer to collect. And although there were plenty of bidders, eBay pulled the plug.
What the hell?
I know you want to see Scatino go to jail, and we'll get to that. But first, we have to talk about someone else. Dominika Samorton.
That was a close one.
There was speculation that she was on the bridge that evening because she was the captain's mistress.
No shit.
Intense media speculation reports that her presence distracted the captain.
They both denied their love for years and maintained that they were just friends. Although she did later admit to the media that she found him handsome. And how could you not?
You so fucking precious when you smile.
But she says there was no romantic link between them.
Some people would like to believe, they want to know I have something with him. It's more interesting. It's like, you know, some spicy in the story.
Miss Samorton also loved the spotlight.
Come on, man, really? I mean, obviously she was his mistress. I mean, the way she was with him, just went straight into the cabin. What was her fucking position? She didn't work for the cruise ship. She was not part of the crew. Come on, man. And she, you know, after all that, she was actually acting like it's her job to somehow protect whatever happened or something. After people got rescued, somebody was filming, and she's like, you don't have right to film. Well, shut the fuck up. Who are you?
Light, however.
Everyone, oh look!
And took several interviews. But as the pressure mounted upon her, she began making ominous threats to Scatino, saying he must confess, and that you have but 1 week to come clean. But things from here get weird.
Spicy.
Samorton is a bit of a wild card. In a subsequent interview, she claimed a helicopter came to the ship well before the other rescue craft to take away a package. Huh? And what was that package? Drugs, apparently.
What?
So rumors began that the ship was running narcotics for the mafia. And not without cause. A number of cruise ships, even recently, have been caught trafficking drugs.
Yeah, bullshit. Bullshit, mafia was. First of all, if that was the case, she would never in a million years admit that. Really? She has the balls to go against mafia. Mafia would just make her disappear like that. Italian mafia falls. I mean, you know, no way. This is just making this shit up. If it was really true, she wouldn't have said that. Just out of fear.
As an aside, Scatino was tested for drugs immediately after the crash. He tested negative for drugs in his system, but trace amounts of cocaine were found in a hair sample.
Makes it smoother and less dry.
Nonetheless, the
maybe she did the cocaine, and you know, because of certain acts, he got the cocaine on his head too. That makes sense, because I don't believe mafia had cocaine there. If that were the case, first of all, you know, she would never admit that. I mean, really? Italian mafia, you were transporting, you know, cocaine from Italian mafia or something, and then you admit it on national TV, like, yeah, there was cocaine, there's a helicopter, they were gonna take out cocaine. Really? You'd disappear in a week.
Concordia was searched and no drugs were reportedly ever found. How did we get here? Oh, right, a helicopter. Samorton commented on it again the next day and said, actually, That helicopter was just for the captain as a means of evacuation from the ship. Okay, wait. So she expected to get some sort of first-class rescue while everyone else was still stuck on the ship? Wait, how did we get here? Oh, right, sex with the captain. Divers were quick to head to the captain's cabin, where they found Miss Sir Morton's lingerie and other articles of clothing, as well as a makeup bag. The jig was up, but they continued denying it. Sir Morton mostly faded from international attention until she was told to appear before the court to present witness testimony. The judge pressed her to be truthful about their relationship, or she would be held in contempt.
Either tell me the truth or shut up.
So finally, she admitted it.
Yes, I had a sentimental relationship with the captain.
Stop.
But now, stop asking about
That's
my
the
private
court.
life.
She was indeed the captain's lover.
What is up, Trouble Alert Nation? Scatino cheated on his wife with Seymour Tan. Oh my god!
She and Scatino had been having an affair for several weeks. She also said that on the night she boarded, she didn't have a ticket.
Ticket, please.
And didn't need to pay, because nobody questions you when you're the captain's lover. Naturally, she gave another confusing interview after leaving court.
Alright, really everybody knew she's the mistress. Why else would she be there with him? She would just walk inside the captain's cabin and things like that. I mean, obviously that was the case. I mean, how is this even a question?
I want to say that today is the second time I die, because the first time I died in the night of the crash with my psychological brain and problems.
What?
And today I died the second time because, of course, people find out something that I try to hide.
Subsequent to the trial, she used her fame in Moldova.
Okay, so she's saying because of the crash, she took lots of psychological strain, so she kind of died there. And then she's saying, I had to admit lots of embarrassing things, so I died again. First of all, you were banging a captain, so you just get a lavish life on the cruise ship. I mean, that might not be crime, maybe, but that's still a shitty thing to do. I mean, you can't bitch about like your life is ruined now. Come on. But you know what? I don't blame her in the end. I don't know what her role was or not. She's not part of the crew, alright? She was just there because of the captain. I blame the captain. It's all captain's fault, alright? She distracted him, that's his fucking fault. Why was she there in the first place? So she wasn't part of the crew, she didn't have any responsibility. Yeah, it might be a shitty thing, whatever she did, especially telling that guy to not film and things like that. I mean, you're not part of the crew, shut the fuck up. But still, I don't blame her that much. There are lots of people like that who just good looking, so they can just go with some guy who has good position or something and just try to live lavish life or something. So yeah, I mean, shitty attitude, sure, but I don't blame her for any of this.
To become a political activist, often appearing on television and radio and in articles covering protests, accompanied by pictures of her being arrested by police.
Look at the guy he's holding her up with his shoe. Isn't this normal look trash everywhere?
It was some stuff about victims of violence, women's rights,
girl power,
yada yada yada, and interestingly, part of a push to block the sale of shares of Moldova's train network to Russia.
Sure.
Other than that, I don't really know what she's been up to.
Yeah, okay, so I see what she's doing there. She's trying to shift all the attention about her doing all that shitty thing and just erasing her image as being some bimbo who just banging captain so she could live on a cruise life or something. I don't know, so something like that. So she's doing all this social thing to erase her image of that. I don't blame her for that either. What would you do? I mean, that is something you had to do something.
Up to, let me just check on oh god, not again.
What the Does Italy have shortage of hot women? I highly doubt that, since there is such thing as Italian Riviera and there are millions of them there. How is she finding her way into every captain's cabin? Now she's on what? This is airplane? So she's in this cockpit because she's banging some, I guess, pilot or something. What the fuck? How is she finding herself constantly in positions like this?
Several civil suits were quickly lodged against Cost of Concordia, and their parent company, Carnival Cruises, immediately saw a share drop of 23%. Passengers sought compensation for their damaged mental health, lost belongings, and loved ones.
Either they allowed him to divert from his course, or they didn't know where their billion-dollar ship was.
Within a few days, facing financial and media pressure, the CEO attempted to join the bandwagon against the captain and the crew.
That was not the ordinary route that the ship was taking at the time, and was not only taking, but the time the ship was...
Claiming that the ship was not approved to deviate from the route. But that wasn't true. Approval isn't required if the ship is deviating by less than 15 miles.
Alright, first of all, here's the thing. I don't know much rules and details about this, but common sense is this. You don't have a captain if you just expect him to just follow route like some kind of computer. I'm pretty sure captain has lots of, freedoms towards things like this. It's your job to choose a competent captain, not some guy who was security guard, now you just made him a captain. You created $500 million cruise ship, got lots of people on the cruise ship because of your image. You told people this cruise ship is from us, so trust us. So those people do trust you and go on the cruise ship. Now you have responsibility for those people. At the same time, you choose an incompetent captain and this happens, it is completely your fault. It is your fault. You were careless deliberately. You could have chose something right. This wasn't some short, small thing. I mean, you spent $500 million into building this ship. Really, you couldn't find some competent captain. So this is your fault all the way. I mean, deviated from the route. It doesn't matter how you see it. I mean, they're trying to say this is captain's fault. Of course it is. But why was the captain in the first place there? Why didn't you choose somebody more competent? This is your fault.
Or that it was against company rules. Also untrue, because investigators found that they didn't have any rules about deviating route, and they tacitly encouraged sail-by salutes. Now, in response to the civil suits, Cost of Concordia offered passengers €11,000 each as compensation.
That's kind of small.
11,000 euros, about $14,000, is the minimum compensation under international law when a ship is abandoned.
This was to reimburse them for their tickets, as well as any cost.
First of all, fuck you. This is a massive ship, alright? Lots of people are on board the ship. Its ship literally toppled over and crashed. Lots of people died too. You can't just say 11,000 euros and that's it, go home. Really?
Costs they accrued in having to unexpectedly travel home early.
And that was supposed to release them from everything and anything that has to do with this accident. I cannot ask for more than this.
A lot of passengers, understandably, were not too happy with this deal, and they refused to take the money.
We think the offer is an insult. For what these poor passengers went through, we think that the compensation being offered is not commensurate.
Here, take it.
Compensation being offered is not commensurate.
Later, Cost of Concordia would lodge a plea deal with the Tuscany court to pay a €1 million fine to avoid a criminal trial. The judge agrees. Cost of Concordia is now off the hook for all criminal liability for the whole thing. They've washed their hands of the incident.
Really? In just $1 million? That's nothing. Look, first of all, the ship costed $500 million. They probably spent over $1 billion, I'm sure of it, by just, scavenging thing. I'm pretty sure that, look, I don't know about this, but I know that, if you want to, have a scavenging effort in some cruise ship or giant ship, there are so many details go through it, and it probably cost them over $1 billion. I'm pretty sure it would have done. So, already they're, they're already losing lots of money. $1 million is nothing.
And flecked the residual droplets of responsibility onto the faces of 6 staff members. Passengers and relatives of the dead are livid that the company has been able to avoid criminal responsibility.
Offered is not commensurate.
Civil suits against the company continue. By the way, the residents of the island of Giglio also banded together and sought damages. They didn't get much.
What damages?
Eventually, passengers who refused the initial compensation of $11,000 joined civil parties against Scatino in his trial in 2015.
It's not commensurate.
They were awarded €30,000 each. Other cases, especially those involving lost relatives, are settled for undisclosed amounts.
Yeah, that should have been high. That should have been high. Because you can't just say, what, here's 40 or 50,000. I'm sorry, one of your relative that trusted us and went on just a cruise to enjoy their holiday is dead. So here's just few thousand. I'm pretty sure that was a good enough amount of money. Damn.
New York attorney Peter Renee travelled to Budapest to represent 6 real survivors of the disaster.
At Renee & Renee, we personally work on every case.
And we'll work harder than anyone to get you the most money possible in the shortest amount of time.
And while on the job, a 7th case cropped up via email. An elderly woman, Alona, said,
"Help me, Mr. Ronai, for I have lost my daughter, Eva, and my 5-year-old granddaughter, Roxana."
So Mr. Renai agreed to speak with her. However, there were some inconsistencies in her story. Neither Eva nor Roxana were on the passenger list. Odd, but Costa is known for having stowaways.
Gotcha, bitch.
Still, Mr. Renai was suspicious. They wouldn't cheaty old Petey, would they? Renai inquired further about why she was on board, especially without a ticket. Ilona said,
"Well, I don't know, but you should ask her boyfriend.
Zolt Horvath.
He'll know all the details."
I'm up all night. I'm going crazy, he said. But Mr. Renai was still suspicious. Because then she asked, "How much money do you think this is worth?" This is a huge red flag, Petey. In 20 years of doing this, you've never had anyone ask about money. Why now?
Can they be more stupid? Seriously, man. How much money is this worth?
So Mr. Renai hired an investigator and sent photos around of the missing girl. The next day, the phone rang. Oh, hoi hoi. It was the boyfriend again. Look, there's been a bit of a misunderstanding and the child isn't missing at all. Uh-huh. And then he claimed he was confused because he had done too many drugs the night before. Oh. Okay, can I speak to the daughter then? At first, he was refused. So Renai said that he'd have to file a missing persons report to the police if he couldn't. The boyfriend relented.
Man, talking about a competent lawyer. Damn, he just went all detective on this shit. This is a good lawyer, man. He's going very deep.
That night, Renai met with Zolt and brought the police with him. He speaks to the granddaughter and asks her if she's seen Mum. Yeah, I saw her today. Oh, really? Yeah, we went to the park today and we went on the swings. Oh no, the jig was up. So the mum walks into the room sheepishly. It's a miracle! And the story changed again. Okay, I'm not dead, but I did injure my leg when I jumped from the ship. And then I immediately flew back to Budapest. Although don't worry about checking my leg because there are no visible marks or injuries. Oh, Petey, I'm beginning to think they weren't even on the boat. Also, it turns out this lady isn't her mum, it's just a neighbor. Eventually, Renee managed to make the pair confess. And then they said, hey, we haven't done anything wrong. We haven't taken any money. And in the end, it looks like there'll be no criminal punishment for the scam, because Hungary, a former communist country, has no laws against insurance fraud on the books.
The law firm that never sleeps, call 1-800-66.
Really, fraud is not a crime? Damn, just they can just lie like this and they're like, yeah, we haven't done anything wrong. Really? Damn.
Oh,
that's a bad idea.
Yeah, the lawyer was seriously good, man. He just went all detective on that shit, went detail. If there was any other big firm lawyer or anything like that, they would have just like, yeah, 7th case, you know, bring it on, we'll see about it or something like that. But no, he just went all in detail to see credibility of it. So lawyer is really good, man.
Oh, that's a very bad idea.
God, I'm loving this video.
Mario, would you teach me some Italian?
Oh, of course! Get back on board for fuck's sake.
Okay, thanks.
Oh yeah, that guy. Was telling the captain.
Yeah. The naval officer who shouted at Scatino to Vada a bordo caso became a bit of a national hero overnight in Italy. He, like the rest of the world, expected Scatino to go down with the ship.
This is awesome.
And when the captain chickened out, DeFalco was there to admonish him. And when he stopped answering the radio, he called him on his cell phone to continue putting him on blast. When the captain first
Lot of
reported
trouble.
just a blackout, DeFalco didn't believe the story and immediately began preparing a rescue effort, which likely saved several lives. His actions were applauded by most Italians who were tired of their public servants being corrupt and avoiding responsibility. Accordingly, shirts sporting Vada a bordo caso were being printed by the
Yeah, I guess the trust in government is not high in Italy because of the mafia, I guess, because everybody seems corrupt because of mafia. But yeah, seriously, this guy just was, really pissed off and telling captain to get the fuck on the boat and try to rescue people. That is really commendable, man. That was good.
end of the week, others setting it as their phone's ringtone. But then,
became a meme.
In September 2014, without warning, DeFalco was transferred to an admin role in the Coast Guard.
Hear what I said? You've been demoted.
DeFalco said that he had been passed up for promotion, that he had also not been told which admin office he was even being transferred to,
Why?
and that it all effectively cancelled 10 years of his career. DeFalco was tres furioso, and there was public
Really
speculation
furious?
that it was owing to bad blood between himself and Admiral Delana, his former boss. His status among the public overshadowed his superior in many ways. On the other hand, his boss said, no, it's part of a normal career progression for naval officers and that he must show more maturity and professionalism to advance his career. Now, it's hard to know what's true in office politics, so let's leave that alone. And anyway, in 2018, DeFalco said,
So let me get this straight. The guy was on the actual scene, saw the captain as being a pussy basically, so he was getting pissed off at the captain. That went viral. He literally went there at the crash site and tried to rescue people, and did rescue people, saved lots of lives, and that somehow put spotlight on him, so his superior was pissed off. I mean, it's not like he just had spotlight on him just by chance. He did these things. Spotlight should be on him. And his superior's like, it's what does his superior thinks? The spotlight should on him instead of this guy? Why did the superior of him did that guy went to the crash site and tried to save people? No, this is really stupid, man. Why hold a grudge? I mean, this guy's actions is the reason why spotlight is on him.
Buenas noches, y later to the Italian Navy to become a politician. In March that year, he was elected to the Italian Senate, serving as a member for Livorno. He still serves there today.
I'm the captain now.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, if you have that kind of fame and a lot of people, becoming politician is the fruitful thing to do. Goosebumps music.
The day after the disaster, Schettino was taken into custody by police and underwent questioning. However, it was clear that this would not be a straightforward investigation. So the judge released him under house arrest at his home in Sorrento, a town in Napoli. By July of that year, the house arrest was relaxed and he was allowed within this general area. While under house arrest, he wrote a book with this journalist from Rai magazine. I have no idea what it says, I don't speak Italian. But goddammit, he must have some kind of charisma going on, because there's been a lot of speculation in the press that he had an affair with her as well.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Hold on, I got it. Not content with abandoning his ship, this dude is determined to abandon his wife as well. So, Schettino and 5 others are facing criminal charges. Straight away.
He's Italian, having 2 mistresses on his shoulder, going on a boat on Italian Riviera. I mean, this is... Can you get more stereotypical? Damn.
Everyone lodges a plea bargain with the court, and all of those plea bargains are accepted, except for Schettino's. And the condition of everyone's reduced sentences are that they must provide witness testimony against Schettino.
He touched me.
Alright.
Ciro, Jacob, and Silvia were all given suspended sentences. Roberto and Manrico are able to opt for community service or house arrest. Not a bad deal.
A good deal. Good deal.
And that meant that Schettino was now all on his own. Ciro, the first officer, was the first to give his testimony. On the witness stand, he claimed that Schettino was distracted by his mistress and other guests on the bridge.
Oh my God.
That there was confusion over who was in command. Then it was Jacob's turn. And he said Lamau XD because he didn't actually bother with his testimony or his reduced sentence. He just fled the country. It took authorities 12 months to eventually track him down on the outskirts of Jakarta. And when they said, "Oi, we still want that witness testimony," he just scalped again. And he hasn't been found since. After that, Ferrarini gave his testimony.
What the fuck? So he didn't... I mean... Did they just, grabbed him from some place and made him, the helmsman or whatever? And as soon as he realized there could be trouble, he just fled. So he had no investment in Italy or anything. He didn't care about losing anything there because he didn't have anything there. He just fled and still flying. I mean, this is stupid, man.
Then look, we don't have time to relitigate the whole trial, so let's just go straight to the verdict. Guilty! Schettino was found guilty of multiple manslaughter, causing a shipwreck, abandoning ship, and lying to authorities. He is sentenced to 16 years and 1 month in prison.
Good. It is his fault.
But wait, there's still the appeals. The appeals trial begins. And the verdict on the appeal? Surprise! Rejected! So Schettino's lawyers appealed again. And the verdict on the final appeal?
Schettino made multiple attempts to secure a plea deal but was denied by the prosecution each time. The prosecution called for Schettino to be sentenced to 26 years in prison, calling the incident a Titanic affair.
Oh, okay, I see what you did there.
Schettino was not present. His lawyers stated that he was waiting outside of the jail for the ruling, so that if his plea was rejected, he could immediately start serving his sentence. And with that, 5 years and 4 months after the disaster, he was finally in a cell.
I will not be making any comment. Oh, that hurt.
Oh, good, finally. I mean, seriously, what a shitty thing to do. I mean, look, people could think that he was just careless. I mean, he didn't have malicious intent, but that doesn't matter. I mean, be careless with your life, not with so many people. I mean, you're a captain with so many people on board and you try to oversmart and do things. I mean, you don't even have much of experience being captain. You're a security guard, for fuck's sake. So yeah, this is about right.
The salvage operation was enormous. It took over 2 years and cost an estimated $1.2 billion.
See that, I told you. I knew it would have been somewhere around billion. Because, I've seen some stories about past where, some salvage operation like this scale is, high triple-digit millions or even billions. So I knew it would be something like that.
Beginning in early 2012, they first spent 2 months pumping fuel from the ship's tanks. At the same time, they had to pump seawater in so that the balance wasn't affected and the ship didn't slide around. In early 2013, a platform was built under the ship to prevent it from falling further. Sponsons were then attached to the sides of the ship and cables attached to the underwater platform. The sponsons were then dragged underwater and opened up to allow the ocean to fill them. The ship could then roll over properly. By late 2013, the ship was upright once more. The sponsons were then attached to the side of the ship to help keep it balanced. It now rested partially above water and crews could walk around safely. By July 2014, the water was removed from the sponsons and compressed air was pumped in to lift the ship. And she was ready to cruise again. This time to a port in Genoa. It was a 4-day towing journey to the docks where a 2-year process of dismantling and recycling would begin. That same weekend of the towing, Schettino was busy. He was the guest of honor at a white party on an island in the Bay of Naples. He appeared on the front page of a local newspaper, flanked by 2 of Italy's most eligible bachelorettes. Anyway, so these are the things that I remember from the Cost of Concordia. That sweet maiden of the sea. And as for you, little fella, well, it's time to return you from whence you came. 6 quick things. 1. NordVPN, good product, check them out. Number 2. There's a new video on the second channel. You probably didn't see it because it was temporarily restricted. Now it's not. Enjoy. 3. If you've never seen the second channel before, give it a go. It's a different...
How was it restricted? I reacted to that video. My video wasn't restricted, so I don't know.
different type of content, but we put a lot of production into it. It's not just offcuts. 4. There are a couple secret channels as well, but I ain't telling you where they are.
Yeah, I think I know that channel. Somebody commented that there is a secret internet historian channel. I've seen that channel. It has only 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers, or at least it was when I saw it a few days ago. I mean, clearly he's internet historian, his voice is there, so people are not realizing or something like that. But it's ridiculous to see how very few views it gets, and it just had 2,000 or 3,000 something subscribers. Like, god damn, this is internet historian channel. It just has 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers because he's not promoting it. He's not saying this is my channel, but he uploaded some videos about Silent Hill or something like that. He was just trying out things. I'm gonna react to that, to get more people to know that this channel exists. He might not want that, but I'm going to do that.
5. No more 45-minute videos on the main channel. Back to 10 to 15 minutes and more of them. 6.
Thank
There's
God.
a Q&A coming out next week on incognito mode. It's got a ton of detail that we had to cut for the sake of brevity, and will no doubt feature a ton of corrections as well. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, this was so good video. I don't know why he changed lots of his setup. I guess the way he's showing, setup by setup, portion by portion, the music he's playing, the editing was great. His quality is going up. You know what? As a reactor, it's good news to see that 10-15 videos. Yeah, so I can react to it. But you know what? The hour-long videos that he makes, I mean, it feels like documentaries. So I don't know if it's going to be good as this, but I'm pretty sure his strength lies into the short, just great videos. I mean, 10-15 minute videos. He could probably make more videos because of it. I'm pretty sure editing an hour-long video takes even longer time. That's why he makes a video every 6 or 7 months now. If he go back to 10-15 minute setup, he could create video every 2 or so months. That's at least better. He can cover more stories, and we can just get his side of it. It's still going to be fine. So yeah, this was all just stupid. Cruise ship company, getting a stupid captain on there. That's their fault. Captain's fault was there, obviously, and yeah, everything else is just what you expect. The cruise company didn't pay that much money. They just escaped with not many losses in that front. Obviously, people who were hurt didn't get that much money. I mean, you could argue that they got enough money, but that's not enough money with all the shit that happened. People who died, that's just stupid. People just went there to have fun, and in this day and age, in 2010s, who would have thought that Titanic like shit happens and people die? So they had no idea what's gonna happen. Captain handled it so badly that even when he should have told people, like, finally this is just going too much, I have to tell them now there's an issue. All protocols tells you that you have to tell them like it's time to evacuate. He didn't tell anybody nothing. So that was just, I think, that was just too shitty. So 16 years of prison, I guess that's about right. So yeah, that was the Cost of Concordia. Alright people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out other reaction I did. There's a link in the description. Check out the cast for the playlists like Internet Historian, CGP Grace, Salmonella, Let Me Know, things like that. Other playlists too, check them out. Check out the end cards, I guess. And yeah, I'll see you next time.